Alright, it's T-Man, and I'm back with another new video. And this one is on Dr. Brad Stanfield. He's doing a video on creatine, so I figured, I was gonna do this video a long time ago, but I forgot. But I figured I'm gonna do it now. I got some time, so I'm gonna react to it. So Dr. Brad Stanfield says, creatine fails. A new study. Don't be misled.
A recent study is challenging everything we thought we knew about creatine supplements. So have we been wasting our money all this?
Yeah, you have been wasting your money all this time. Look what it says here. Sports supplement creatine makes no difference to muscle gains, trial finds. You want to know why the trial found that? Because what builds muscles? Well, I'll tell you what science says what builds muscles. It says when protein synthesis exceeds the rate of breakdown, that's when muscles build. Get it? Yeah, that's when they build. It doesn't say when creatine exceeds muscle protein breakdown. See, listen to the word protein breakdown. It doesn't say creatine breakdown. It doesn't say when creatine synthesis exceeds creatine breakdown, that's when muscles build. It says when protein synthesis, right, exceeds the rate of protein breakdown, that's when muscles build. See that, bro? See how easy it is to answer these questions, dude? You get it? Of course, the trial would find that it doesn't build muscles because it doesn't. But stupid people, the stupid cows that are out there, the sheeples and the peasant slaves believe that creatine somehow builds muscles. Yeah, they're absolutely gone. They're delusional in their head.
Time.
They're so lazy to go and eat real food to build muscles. And they're so poor, probably, they can't afford to eat it.
Creatine has been used since the 90s, and one of the study results that you'll often see talked about is its link to muscle mass gains. So for example,
Muscle mass gains. Yeah, we have two types of muscle mass gains. We have one that's artificial. We call it sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. And we have another one, it's real. It's called myofibrillar hypertrophy. Did you ever heard of it? Ever heard of it? Yeah. Now, creatine was used because it was used as an energy source in sports or whatever.
a meta-analysis in 2022 pulled together data from 35 trials, and the analysis revealed that creatine supplementation increased lean body mass by 1.1 kilograms when combined with resistance training.
It increased lean body mass. When they say the word lean body mass, all it did was blow your muscles up with water.
And notice something important about the results of
That isn't myofibrillar growth.
this analysis. Creatine was found to increase lean body mass, but that's not the same as muscle mass. So lean body mass is the weight of everything in your body apart
Exactly. It's not the same, yeah.
from fat. So muscle mass is a key part of that, but it also includes things like bones, organs, and water weight, and a few other things. So if we assume
No supplement can build muscle. There isn't any supplements that can build muscles. Now, they sell amino acids like tablets, but them by themselves cannot build muscles. Get it? Only when protein exceeds protein breakdown. That's when muscles build. You can supplement that with supplements, but they themselves do not build muscles, bro.
that all of these factors are staying relatively constant, then lean body mass can be a good proxy for muscle mass. So when we find that creatine boosts lean body mass, it seems like a reasonable assumption.
Look, it's like this. How you use amino acids as a supplement to help aid in building muscles, to repair them, whatever it aid in building them. One of the major things about amino acids is the high dosages, they stimulate growth hormones. So in a particular high dosage, it stimulates growth hormone. That's why a majority of people they supplement with amino acids for that growth hormone stimulating effect. Really, that's really the effect, because a little tablet cannot build muscles like Jack and the Beanstalk. He sold the cow in the market and bought beans instead. Well, the beans aren't going to do fuck all. He should have ate the cow.
that what we're seeing is a gain in muscle tissue. But this brand new study suggests that we've been interpreting the results of that earlier research
A gain in what tissue? What tissue?
all wrong. The researchers wanted to figure out if creatine was indeed helping to increase muscle mass, or if it was just water weight. So here's how the study was set.
It is just water weight. Now you could use it as a supplement. You can supplement with it when you damage muscles, and then protein synthesis exceeds this breakdown. You can supplement with creatine if you want to. You don't have to, but if you want to, you can. But you can't infer that the supplement is building muscles because it doesn't.
Up. Researchers randomly assigned participants to one of two groups. The first group got a creatine supplement of 5 grams a day, and the other group took nothing. Now, for the first week of
Whoa, yeah, one group they took 5 grams, and the other group they took nothing. Okay, yeah, and
the study, the creatine group took the supplement, but neither group exercised. They only started exercising from week 2, where both groups began a carefully supervised workout program that lasted for the remaining 12 weeks, and they took measurements of lean body mass for all of the participants at 3 times. So the first one was before the study began, then again once the first week of the trial had completed. So remember, that was just when the creatine group was taking creatine supplements, but they weren't exercising. And then once again, they did the measurements at the end of the trial. Now, there have been lots of studies before looking at the effects of creatine on lean body mass, and they almost look exactly like this one. But this study introduced a unique...
yeah, that's not what it's going on there. The whole thing, you may be losing some body fat is because you're coming in often to the gym it's a placebo effect. You're taking the creatine, now you're coming in often and you're lifting like crazy. Get it? You're lifting and lifting. It's like your exercise has become cardio. It becomes endurance. You're an endurance athlete now, endurance training.
twist. So in the past, studies always started the exercise program at the same time that creatine supplements were started. But in this study, the creatine was started alone for the first week. So why was this? Well, again, the researchers were curious about something. Though the evidence is mixed, we've got some indicators that creatine increases the amount of water in our bodies in the short term. So recall that water is part of our lean body mass. So they wondered if part of the gains due to creatine were actually because of the increase in water rather than increased muscle mass. That's what the first week of the trial was.
Again, creatine cannot build muscle because it doesn't say in science that creatine must exceed creatine breakdown in order to see that whatever mass on that myofibrillar. It says protein. It says protein needs to exceed the rate of protein breakdown. Duh.
All about. Those who were taking the creatine, they weren't exercising at all during that time. So if they had increases in lean body mass, that must have been because of increased water uptake. So what did they discover? Well, they initially did the measurements before the study began, and then they rechecked lean body mass after the first week. As expected, there was a significant difference between the two groups. Those who were taking creatine gained about 0.5 kilogram of lean body mass, but those in the...
Yeah, but here's the thing. What were they eating? Were they eating slop or were they eating protein? Because I know that protein builds myofibrillar growth. So what does slop build? Did they ever do a study on slop? What does slop build? If you eat slop, people say, I know people, they grew on slop. Yeah, I know a lot of people that grew on slop. It's called fat. It's called obese. They get fat. Now, what kind of muscle could you build with slop? Nothing. So I don't even need a study to tell me that slop will not build muscle because science will corroborate. Says protein builds muscle, needs to exceed the rate of breakdown to build myofibrillar growth. But slop, yeah, it will get you fat. Can increase non-contractile proteins like sarcoplasmic.
Control group showed no difference. So this first result was interesting. It confirmed some earlier evidence that found that creatine boosts water uptake. That wasn't a big shocker. The really interesting question, though, was would creatine cause any significant benefits during the exercise?
I don't know. It says during a damaging session, it says it augments the satellite cell. It would increase satellite cell production. It can augment it, but that has to happen in a micro-damaged environment. And muscles, people that don't know lifting, they don't get damaged all the time because they got it in the beginning. That's why science always says unaccustomed, unfamiliar forms, untrained muscles get what? Damaged. How come it doesn't say that it gets adapted gets damaged? Why don't they say in science, adapted muscles, lifting adapted will damage your muscles and then they will grow magically out of thin air? Why does it say you need 7 days to repair and remodel? Why doesn't it say that your muscles will repair and remodel in 24 hours? They say protein will synthesize in 24 hours, but they never say that you can repair and remodel muscles in 24 hours or 48 hours. They say it takes a whole week. Blood levels are elevated, protein synthesis is extended. Does anybody know how to read science out there anymore or what? Does anybody know anything fucking?
Phase of the trial. To find out, they tested lean body mass again after 12 weeks of resistance exercise. They worked hard to ensure that both groups were exercising in the same way. This is the part that's been getting all of the attention. The creatine group didn't see any.
Not everybody exercises in the same way, and not everybody's eating the same food. So the study will never, it'll never tell you, because they would have to do a study pure on creatine to see what it would produce. And guess what it would produce? Nothing. If you take creatine and work out every single day and you don't eat food, what would the study say? What would the study say? Nothing. Moot. It would be moot. Zero.
Benefit in terms of lean body mass gains during the 12 weeks of exercise compared to the control group. When we compare the change in lean body mass after the first week to the end of the study, both groups gained about the same amount. It was around 2 kilograms. So the authors drew a startling conclusion.
Yeah, they gained water weight. That's what they gained.
That creatine doesn't offer any further benefits to lean body mass beyond.
Of course not, because creatine doesn't have magic powers to micro damage your muscles, and it doesn't have power to grow it either. It cannot synthesize proteins.
The initial boost in that first week, and that likely doesn't have anything to do with muscle gains. So do these results mean that creatine use is all built on a mistake? Well, let's unpack this.
Yeah, it's built on a mistake. It's fake. It's just it's marketing, to market a supplement to you, to make you believe in your head it's going to build a muscle. It doesn't build muscles.
Look again at the numbers that they report in the gains during the 12-week exercise period. There actually is a difference between the groups. The supplement group gains a bit more on average, and you see this on the graph here. So when they say
they gain a bit more what? Sarcoplasmic hypertrophy? Okay.
No difference. Technically what they mean is not statistically different. So it's possible that the difference that creatine makes here is too small for this particular study setup. So in other words, what I mean is that there's not enough people in the study to adequately power the study to detect that small difference.
I think there was enough. Trust me, there was enough. He's just upset because it doesn't meet his standard.
The study only involved 60 participants, which is a relatively small group, and the duration was only 12 weeks.
Because he's been taking this supplement for like 20 years or some shit. That's what he says.
So ideally, we want a larger, longer-term trial to get a clearer picture. More data equals more precision. But also, if we compare the baseline to the end of study differences, the creatine group still does have an overall greater change in lean body mass. I also want to point out something that's easy to miss. The study didn't address the main benefit of creatine. So the main benefit that I'm going to discuss is
Yes, what's the main benefit of creatine? Taking something synthetic, a byproduct, synthetic bad plant byproduct crap, made out of plant crap.
reason why I personally take creatine.
Yeah.
So even if the conclusion in the study is right.
Why do you take creatine? See, I can tell you why I take amino acids, because it's made out of animal products. It's a supplement, but it's made out of animal products. And creatine, those amino acids are found already in there anyway. So who cares?
That creatine doesn't boost lean body mass gains, it doesn't mean that creatine is worthless. So
It is worthless. First, he says it doesn't lean body mass gains. It doesn't increase lean body mass gains. That's the study. That's the finding. And he says that doesn't mean it's not worthless. Yeah, it's worthless. It's worthless. Now, when they say it augments satellite cells, I don't really know what they're talking about. PubMed will say that if you damage muscle fibers and they're damaged and the satellite cells are activated, they can augment it, meaning it can help increase more satellite cells. See what I mean? But the question is this: how much more satellite cells would your body increase because of the damage you got? It would increase it automatically because it already knows a finite number it needs to repair and remodel your muscles. So if you're taking creatine and they say it'll increase more of these satellite cells, why do you need more of them? Your body will make the amount that it's needed. So you don't need creatine because your body would make the proper amount. See what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. How could it augment it? That's why I don't understand any of these studies. This is augments it. It'll increase the satellite cell. Increase it to do what exactly? Satellite cells donate their nuclei to support muscle growth. Yeah. So how much more can it donate in that one session of damage? It can't. It can only donate so much because it reached the ceiling limit beyond where the satellite cell can donate any more extra nuclei to that domain to support further muscle growth. So how can creatine cause the satellite cell to increase more of it? See what I mean? It's impossible because it reached the ceiling limit. Science will tell you that. So I really don't understand the study at all when they say that, well, creatine could augment satellite cells. What do you mean augment and increase more of them? How? Reach the ceiling limit during that session. It can only give so many of them. It cannot give more.
Let me explain why. So think about what the main benefit of creatine is. Creatine helps
There's no benefit. If anything, it can hurt you. There's no benefit.
to restore ATP. That's the primary energy source for our cells.
So you want to restore ATP, but it will restore anyways. Your body will restore ATP. It doesn't need creatine to restore ATP. It does it itself automatically. You don't have to do any of these things. You could be the triggering device to do certain things to your body to get it to prompt it to do certain things, but it initiates all of these actions. You have nothing to do with that. You just have to provide it with the substance that it needs to build or do certain things. That's about it. It's based on consumption. The only thing you need to do is consume.
It's particularly important when we do high intensity, short bursts of muscle movement.
See, high intensity, short bursts, high intensity. But I'm not an endurance athlete, or I'm not a endurance person coming in often to the gym. I don't need to do that. I'm not there to exercise.
Think of it like an emergency battery pack for our muscles. Our muscles can store a certain amount of creatine, and taking creatine supplements increases the amount of creatine available to our muscles. It's like filling that battery pack to 100%, and this results in measurable performance gains when it comes to exercise.
Again, see, performance gains. But bodybuilding is not based on performance. It compromises sportive performance. So we don't need creatine. See what I mean? As a bodybuilder, you don't need creatine, because we're not based on performance. We're based on compromising our sportive performance. We're based on muscle damage. We're micro damaging our muscles so that they can adapt by coming back bigger and stronger. The only reason you lifting heavier is to get the deeper, weaker muscle fibers, because they're being protected by the sarcomeres from the last session that you came into the gym and that you built. Get it? So you have to work harder than the last time, more vigorously, to damage the deeper, weaker muscle fibers, lifting just slightly heavier, or lifting already heavier but just putting in more work to damage the deeper, weaker ones. Get it? Every time you build muscles, they get harder, they get stronger. See, they get stronger. The question is, are you strong enough to damage them? Now that they got stronger, are you strong enough to damage them, or are you a weakling? Are you so weak that you can't damage muscles? Yeah, because everybody in the gym is weak. There's so many weak people out there. They cry. They go, I reached the newbie gain limit, genetic limit, and I'm a hard gainer. They make up excuses why they can't damage their muscle fibers, because they're weak. If they were strong, they could damage them, and then they would adapt by growing bigger and stronger, providing protein synthesis exceeds that breakdown. They're also weak when it comes to eating. They can't eat, because I have so many people tell me, they go, I can't eat like that. Okay, then don't grow. Don't eat like that because you're weak. But apparently, they're strong enough to come into a gym and lift a heavy weight off the floor, though, right?
So studies have found benefits ranging from increased power and endurance to strength training to enhanced recovery. And since we can push a bit harder during strength training with creatine, we see gains faster. So a meta-analysis of...
So you push a little bit harder, you see gains faster in what, though? What gains are these? Sarcoplasmic? You pushed harder. So you pushed harder, so you got sarcoplasmic gains. Okay.
Studies in adults under 50 years old backs up this effect. When compared to placebo, those taking creatine saw their strength grow more quickly. A separate meta-analysis focused on studies...
Yeah, your body adapts by giving you motor units. Your strength increases. Listen, man, you have motor unit and you have androgen receptor strength, and then you have myofibrillar strength. There's different kinds of strength out there. One is for maximal force production. They call that myocytic androgen receptor. That gives you maximal force production. Then you have motor unit strength, the CNS. It's increasing the fucking motor units. The motor units are increasing. Then you have myofibrillar growth. You understand me? Where the myocytic androgen receptor and the motor units reside in the new myofibrillars that you built. If you're building them, if you're not, then forget it. See what I mean? They work in unison together, in a combination together. But guess what? You could adapt by getting stronger motor units or androgen receptors, or you could adapt by getting just myofibrillar growth, and it will automatically increase the motor unit and androgen receptors. Get it? Automatically. It has to do it automatically.
Of older adults, the results were the same. Creatine supplementation increased chest press and leg press 1 rep max. And a report from the International Society of Sports Nutrition summarized the evidence this way. Hundreds of peer-reviewed studies have evaluated the impact of creatine supplements on exercise performance. About 70%.
Again, see? Exercise performance, and bodybuilding is not based on exercise performance. It compromises sportive performance because we're based on micro-damaging muscles, not performing.
Of them found a significant improvement in exercise capacity. So this is a really important distinction. The new trial casts doubt about the effects of creatine on lean body mass, but it did not measure muscle performance. So creatine lets us exercise.
See, look at this guy. He's exercising, performing. He's not damaging, he's performing. Listen to the word. Performing, damaging. They're not the same. Get it? Powerlifting, bodybuilding. They're not the same. Bodybuilding, powerlifting. They're not the same. You can't bodybuild if you're powerlifting. And you can't powerlift if you're bodybuilding. Get it? You understand me? You can't perform if you're damaging. You're either damaging or you're performing. What are you? Performing slave? Okay, be performing slave then.
With more intensity, and this translates to greater strength gains. But one natural question to ask is if our...
That transfers to more strength gains? What's the strength gains? Well, if you're performing, then you're increasing what? Motor units, androgen receptors for what? Force production. Whatever it is you're doing there, I don't know. Performing slave.
strength is growing.
Look, when you're adapted, when your muscles are adapted, they're no longer growing myofibrillar growth, and you're trying to progressively overload your muscle with weight. How is it going to adapt? It's going to adapt by giving you what? Motor units and androgen receptors. That's artificial strength. That isn't based on myofibrillar strength.
Shouldn't our muscles be growing as well? And wouldn't that show up?
See that? That's what he's talking. See, listen to what he says. Shouldn't our muscles be growing? Yeah. Should they be growing? How do they grow? Micro damage. And then they grow when protein synthesis exceeds that breakdown. They're not going to grow if there's no micro damage in there. There's nothing to grow. And there's no protein either coming in.
As gains in lean muscle mass. Again, this recent study
I love this. Gains in lean muscle mass. That performing guy moving those ropes up and down, what's he doing? Burning body fat. He's performing, exercising, burning body fat. He's looking. He's going to look muscular because he's going to have low body fat, so it reveals what's underneath. But he's not building any muscle.
This is a question. The simple answer is it isn't that simple. We might assume that our strength grows because our muscles are getting bigger, but the reality...
No, your strength doesn't grow because your muscles are getting bigger. Man, your strength, your myofibrillar strength grows if you're building myofibrillars. But if you're adapted and lifting, then your androgen receptors and motor units increase, giving you artificial strength, like a woman picking up a car. When her child is under stress, the car fell on the child, she gets an influx of adrenaline. The adrenaline allows her to lift a 2,000-pound car. Get it, dude? It's artificial strength. That's why when people go away from the gym, they're like, hey, how come I'm so weak now? I went on vacation for 2 weeks and my strength went away. You know, when I was there, I was squatting 500. Now I can barely do 250. Get it, dude? That's why. Because it's fake. You have to keep going to the gym to maintain those phony lifts that you're doing in the gym. That phony strength. You have become now a lifting slave.
Reality is more complex. Consider these fascinating examples. Bodybuilders and weightlifters both engage in rigorous resistance training and both gain a lot of muscle.
Bodybuilders and who? What did he say? Hold on a second.
Strength grows because our muscles are getting bigger, but the reality is more complex.
Strength grows because your muscles are getting bigger. No. You can gain, people will tell you, you can gain strength without building muscle. What kind of strength is that? It's artificial strength. It's called motor units and androgen receptor. Now, your strength, your bodily strength will increase if you grow myofibrillars. You become stronger, physically stronger. You understand me? There's different kinds of strength.
Consider these fascinating examples. Bodybuilders and weightlifters both engage in
Bodybuilders and weightlifters. Well, he's lifting weights, right? Weightlifting, bodybuilding, it's the same thing. He's lifting a weight. What's the difference? Maybe if he said powerlifting, then there's a difference.
Rigorous resistance training, and both gain a lot of muscle, but the relationship between their muscles and
They do vigorous workouts. They gain a lot of muscle. Yeah, some people damage, some people don't. Some people get micro tears. And if they exceed that breakdown in protein, they'll build muscle. But if it never exceeds, they won't build any muscle. It'll be sarcoplasmic. So you could grow artificial muscle and think that you're building myofibrillar. Meanwhile, it's fooling you because you're getting motor unit and androgen receptor strength, and then you're building sarcoplasmic growth, and then you think that you actually got stronger. But in reality, you never got stronger because you didn't build any myofibrillars. Get it?
their strength is different. So in one analysis, researchers measured the size of tricep muscles with its power. In their sample, bodybuilders had on average larger muscles, but for a given amount of muscle.
Yeah, these bodybuilders had larger muscles because there's a lot of non-contractile proteins being involved in there, most likely. Yeah. I don't know what these bodybuilders are doing. Is it based on myofibrillar? He doesn't say. He just said they got bigger, but we know there's sarcoplasmic and myofibrillar. You can get a combination of one or the other or get them together. It depends. One can exceed the other.
Weightlifters were stronger. So strength gains and muscle gains, they aren't.
Weightlifters were stronger. Well, weightlifters, the way they lift, okay, weightlifting, okay, per se, weightlifting, like Olympic lifting. The way they lift is to throw heavy weight around. So they're trying to increase more motor units and androgen receptors. Bodybuilders are trying to get physically stronger. Okay, man, fuck, I have to explain everything in this fucking channel. Bodybuilders are trying to get physically stronger so they can produce more kinetic energy. We get bigger and stronger myofibrillars. We get more of them. So we can produce more kinetic, physical strength, fucking physical strength with kinetic energy, okay? That's what bodybuilding really is. Now, weightlifting is based on them trying to lift the heaviest weight, throwing it in angles and doing stuff. Now, they're going to say that they're stronger than bodybuilders, but that's not true. They aren't physically stronger than a bodybuilder that builds myofibrillar growth, because weightlifting is not based on that. I'm not saying they don't get some myofibrillar, but a lot of their strength is artificial. It's based on motor units and androgen receptor strength to move heavy weight up and down. See the difference? Listen to the word weightlifting and bodybuilding. Listen to the word bodybuilding. What's bodybuilding? Building myofibrillar growth. What is weightlifting? Lifting weights. Okay. So how are they stronger than a bodybuilder? They're not. They're not stronger than a bodybuilder. They're stronger in throwing heavy weight around. But a bodybuilder is always going to be physically stronger than a weightlifter because he can produce more kinetic energy. Because we're bigger, we're stronger. We have more myofibrillar growth. See the difference? Now, a power lifter, what do? It's somewhat similar to a weightlifter. They're lifting a heavy weight up and down for short reps off the floor or whatever, dude. Get it? So there you go. They are not stronger than bodybuilders. Bodybuilders are physically stronger than these people. Physically stronger. Now, as far as lifting the heaviest weight, no, bodybuilders don't practice at lifting the heaviest weight. bodybuilders practice at getting physically stronger to produce more kinetic energy so they can punch through car doors, they can punch through punching bags and do a bunch of stuff. That's what bodybuilding is used for. That's why boxers bodybuild. They don't power lift. See, why do sprinters, why do they do bodybuilding, sprinters? So that they can sprint faster. It produces more what do you call it, explosive power, more velocity, because more type 2 muscle fibers, more myofibrillar growth. Get it? So these type of sports like weightlifting, powerlifting, they're inferior sports. In the physical world, they're inferior because they're based on artificial strength called motor units and androgen receptor strength. But in bodybuilding, we're based on myofibrillar growth. You can actually touch it and feel it. That's the difference. But that stuff, you can't see it or anything, that strength. You can only see them moving a weight around, throwing stuff up and down.
Identical. One study found a group of young, healthy people had an average strength gain of 21% during the study period, but that corresponded to only 7% gains in muscle size. And incredibly, several people in that study increased their leg strength without any gains in muscle size at all.
Yeah. They increased their leg strength with any size at all. What strength did they increase in their legs without any size? Androgen receptor and motor unit strength, artificial strength. Get it?
So what explains all of this? Well, yes, strength gains, they're partly driven by muscle mass, but they're also driven by...
Yeah. Strength gains are driven by muscle mass, but those strength gains are for physical kinetic energy strength.
Other changes in things like nerve activity and other...
Yeah, nerve activity. Yeah. Nerve, artificial strength, nerves, activity, bro. Huh? Among the possible explanations of lack of robust correlation between increase in mass and gain in strength is the contribution of neural adaptations. So we have muscular adaptations. What are those? Myofibrillars, sarcomeres, myofibrillars. Now, what are neural adaptations? Motor units and androgen receptors. Motor units. Get it, dude? You get it? Yeah, man. As training implies learning of the relevant motor unit recruitment and firing rate and what? Stimulus deactivation of antagonist muscles. Yeah, dude.
Words, we get stronger in part because our body gets better at using what we've already got. And research suggests...
Yeah, it gets better at using what we already got. What do we already have? Motor units. We got a lot of them. We recruit them really fast. They're the first things that are recruited the moment you lift weights. Motor units. Fuck, man.
That our early strength gains have more to do with neural adaptations. Later gains...
That's right. Our early strength gains have to do with what? Motor units, artificial strength gains. Lots of people do this because they don't know how to build muscle. It takes a lot of work to build real muscle. To build real myofibrillar growth and be a real fucking brute, like a real strength brute, like to produce real kinetic energy where you can fucking plow through people, man. Your arm will punch through bodies and you can pull fucking spines right out of their back and shit. You produce more kinetic energy when you build myofibrillar growth. But these soft people that eat carbohydrates and they're soft and round and spongy and lifting a heavy weight, motor unit, androgen receptor, motor unit, they're not strong. They will pretend that they're strong. They'll tell you, look at you and tell you, hey man, look at me, because I can lift a heavy weight. I'm so strong, I can rip you apart and everything. But meanwhile, they're really weak. In the physical world, they're weak. In the gym, they might be good for lifting a weight heavy. It impresses you because you're like visually looking at them and you think, wow, they must be really strong. But in reality, they're physically weak because they can't produce kinetic energy because they never bodybuilt. You understand me? They weightlifted. They were weightlifting, but they're not bodybuilding. That's different. Now, if they bodybuilt for a while and went to weightlifting, maybe.
Are more connected with muscle growth. And this raises an intriguing possibility.
That's right. Connected to muscle growth, yeah.
Could those taking creatine in this recent study have seen benefits in terms of strength gains? Well, we've got no way to know since it
No, they will not. They will not see anything there. It's placebo and it's a bunch of bullshit. You got better because you're recruiting motor units. Motor units are always being recruited.
wasn't measured, but it's certainly likely. Earlier studies have consistently shown this effect. In other words, maybe the participants didn't add any extra lean body mass.
Look, let me explain something to you. In order to know whether creatine will increase your strength, then you would have to do this. You would have to try to lift a heavy weight to see if it makes you lift a heavy weight. But guess what? They start practicing at lifting a heavy weight. So you'll never know if the creatine ever does it. But here's the kicker. It doesn't. It doesn't. Because if you, let's say you couldn't bench press 315, but you could bench press 200, all right? But you practice to get to 315. That's motor unit. Now, if you take creatine and you want to leap from 200 to 300, if you take a bunch of creatine, will you be able to bench press 315 without practicing? No. So you know it's fake. You get it? It was really just the motor units and you. It wasn't the creatine that allowed you to lift 315, to bench press 315. You practiced. You got there by practicing. You didn't leap from 200 to 300 because you took creatine, okay? Nobody on this planet did.
Because of creatine, but they probably added extra strength and muscle performance, like the mountains of existing trial data suggests. Overall,
No, it didn't. What you did was recruit motor units. That's what you did. You recruited it by practicing.
the new study raises an important question about whether earlier trials may have overstated muscle mass gains. For reasons that we've looked at here,
It did overstate the muscle mass gains because they're not bodybuilding, they're performing, and that's not muscle gains. That's not myofibular growth.
though, I don't think it casts doubt about the usefulness of creatine. We've still got very good evidence that it boosts
It has a zero use. It's a waste of money, really.
exercise performance and strength gains.
Exercise performance. There you go. So does it have worth in exercise performance? Yeah, you could perform. Take creatine and perform. Be a monkey, a performing monkey. Get it? Yeah.
Emphasize, the new study did not measure muscle performance at all. It was just lean body mass. And it's the muscle performance effects that are the main reasons why I personally take creatine monohydrate 5 grams as part of Microvitamin Plus. We're on form.
Okay, that's why he takes it, because he's marketing the shit, probably. I don't know. Micro plus vitamin. Why do you need that? Meat has creatine in it. Your body produces creatine. It has creatine, whatever. Your body produces creatine out of food that you eat. It doesn't produce creatine magically out of thin air, your body. Get it? You have to actually consume food to produce it. So it comes from your meat. You don't need this shit.
Formula version 6 of the overall microvitamin package, and I'm working on formula version 7 at the time of recording this video. And for me, I want to continue
You see how easy it is to dispel all this garbage? It's all fake. It's bullshit.
receiving the muscle performance benefits of creatine and the study.
Again, muscle performance benefits. If you read about what bodybuilding is, it compromises sportive performance. It's not based on performing. Get it?
Does not change that, nor compel me to remove
Building muscle is not based on performance. You cannot perform and build muscles. I'm sorry.
creatine from formula version 7. But just because I take a supplement does not in any way mean that you should as well.
Yeah, just because he should, whatever. Bullshit. He's just wasting his time. I don't even know why he takes this. It's fucking byproduct. It's shit. It's probably aging him. Who knows? He thinks it's doing the opposite, but it's probably destroying you. Because it's made from plants, it's garbage. It's just waste product. I'll see you in the next one, friends. Tell us what you think about that. Like, subscribe, support the channel. I'll see you in the next video.